Alright, first up, Lesser Wisp. He gets a nice S tier. You're never missing this guy. The weak point, if you miss this, you deserve it, man. Next up, our good old friend Little Beetle here. He gets a nice A tier. While he's easy to hit, he can weasel his way out of your line of sight. You can shoot between his legs sometimes. It kind of sucks. Next up, little jellyfish. These guys, well, they may be easy to hit. I do hate them still for always sneaking up behind me, and then you kind of have no time to scope in and shoot them. We get a nice A tier. Next up is stone golems. These guys, when you hit that weak point, oh, they really get stunned. And the weak point's just easy to hit in general. If you miss this, well, it's just kind of your fault. That's why they get a nice and easy S tier. Next up is these damned blind pests. Now these things may be blind, but it won't stop them from absolutely juking my shots. And these little flappy guys, I miss them way more times than I should. They're getting a nice B tier. Next up is the absolute wonderful brass contraptions. While these things are pretty damn easy to hit, I cannot count the amount of times that I have somehow shot between that little crack in their hitbox in the middle and absolutely missed them. Man, that is infuriating. They get a nice A tier. Next up, we get the blind vermin. And I'll be damned if I haven't been swarmed by one of these guys every single time I've gotten a Felian Sanctuary as my stage 2 as Railgunner. Holy shit. But thankfully, they're... Well, once you get the hang of it, you can kind of hit them consistently, but they're still getting a nice C tier because they're always running in your damn face, hopping all around, and then you just kind of whiff your shots. So you're better off just using your homing rounds on them. Okay, right after that, we're going to deal with the good old clay enemies. So we get the Clay Templar. This guy, he's got a nice A tier. He's got the same, you know, great reason to hit his weak point, but he doesn't have the ease of hitting the weak point like the Stone Golem. You can still whiff it sometimes, but once you hit it, these guys are donezo. Next up is these weird clay apoc or whatever, chunky clay dudes. I don't know who thought of the weak point, but it's somehow like in the middle of their giant clay dome. I don't know how you're meant to like keep track of where that weak point is, but I always find myself wasting my time trying to aim for the weak point. So they're getting a good C tier. Next up, I'm gonna put in our good old friend, the Lunar shop owner, Newt. Now he may not be an enemy, but he's got a weak point, so I put him on here. And I don't know, he's a pretty stationary target. I don't know what else to say. It's on his hand for some reason, pretty unique. Though you shouldn't be shooting this dude. Just saying. But if you do, you're definitely gonna hit that weak point. Next up is the good old buggers, void infestors. They're going in F tier. I'm sorry, these guys have no weak spot. What the hell, Hopu? What are you thinking? And next up is a bit of a weird one. We got the healing elite core. When you kill the healing elites, the core pops out. This thing has a weak point because I don't know, it does. And S tier. I don't know if you're gonna miss that thing, but I haven't ever in my life. So if you really want to insta kill a healing orb, I guess it's waiting right there for you. Next up is our good old friend, the Lumerian. He's here, he's friendly, not really, and he's here to end your attempt at that 130 weak points in a row attempt on the Railgunner to get that one random unlock. This little guy, the amount of times this guy has strafed his hunched over ass head to make me miss my weak point, it is uncountable, and I hate these guys for it. These guys have wasted so many shots. You're going in D tier. Congrats, you little guys. Short to follow them is the Elder Lumerians. These guys are also assholes when you try to hit their weak points. Their lanky ass head is so far in front of them, if they just decide to rotate right before you shoot, you're missing D tier. Next up, beetle guards. These guys, they're pretty annoying to hit. But if you hit like 1 or 2 weak points on them, they're just dead. I don't know what else to say. They're a little annoying, but they're kind of fodder. So Railgunner's a nice time with them. However, their weak point is just tedious to hit. Greater Wisp, our good friend, you are quite annoying. However, You're pretty easy to hit. Get a nice stun from it, so you're going right next to Clay Templars. Next, I'm gonna bring out the menace to every Railgunner player. The Imps. These little shits will teleport away from your shot at the very last second, right before you're about to hit them. And yeah, they deserve D tier. Go in there, you little shits. Next up, we got Alpha Constructs. These little guys, they just... They're literally sitting ducks. I don't know how you missed them. S tier. If you miss these guys, you deserve it. Next up is good old Bighorn Bison. These guys, easy to hit, except for when they're charging. I hate you when you charge. You are so damn annoying to hit when you're charging, so B tier. And Alloy Vultures. These guys. I hate these guys. When they're flapping their shitty wings in the air, they're moving their hitbox up and down. I know they're vaguely easy to hit, but they're just blind pests, but even more annoying. So, actually, C tier? Do they piss me off this much? I don't know. Yeah, they do. They deserve C tier. These guys, they've wasted a lot of my shots, and they deserve to rest in C tier. Next up is a weird one. We have the Malachite Urchin thing that spawns from Malachite elites when they die. Sure, S tier. I'm 90% sure these things have a weak point. And it's just like the healing orb, so you stay up there. Next on the list, we got Hermit Crabs. These things, sitting ducks. S tier. I still hate you guys, though, for hitting me when I'm trying to snipe other guys. Finally, we have arrived at Gup. Where does he go? He goes in D tier, because this guy is bouncing all the hell around, and he's really damn annoying to hit those 2 eyes. Why is his 2 eyes the weak spot? Why? This is so annoying to hit. I rarely hit supercharging these guys, and I always want to. On a side note, we have little Geep and Gip here. They're nice guys. They're pretty damn easy to hit. Their hitbox is nice right in the center, and they're pretty passive. Just gonna sit there almost like a hermit crab. And they're cute, and they get a nice S tier. Nearing the end of normal enemies here, we got mushrooms. Now you might be thinking, wow, these things are stationary, so they're gonna get like S tier, right? Whenever these things go underground to heal, they hide their weak spot underground, and you have to get above them to actually hit it, which is really annoying. So, no, you're not in S tier, you're going in B tier. Slightly weird enemy coming up, we got the Solus Probes. They're mostly easy to hit, but I still hate how they kind of swerve side to side. So, you're getting a A tier. It's just... They're weak anyway, they're probably gonna die anyway if you miss your shot. But... oh well. Now next up we got Absolute Hell on Earth. These things, I hate them. I hate them. I don't want to associate my sniper scope with the bodies of these guys, and I much prefer just to hit them with homing shots. However, you kind of need to hit that snipe to kill them before they splat on your face. So you're getting a wonderful D tier. I hate you guys. Stupid hopping and skipping, and they're just hard to track. So, yeah, I hate you. And the last of the normal enemies, we have Parents. These guys, pretty alright to hit, though they're kind of hunched over. They can teleport out of your way. Very rarely, but they can. So they're getting a good B tier. Next on, we're doing the Lunar enemies. First up, Balls. C tier. I hate them. They roll around, although at the same time, you're not missing that weak point. Though yes, I do have a hatred for these guys. Right after them is going to be the Golems, the Lunar Golems. These guys, D tier. I absolutely hate hitting their guns on the side, and then when they're doing their anime drifting around the arena, it's so damn annoying to hit. So I just get a nice not crit. It's wonderful to see every single time. And finally, we got Lunar Chimera Wisps. They're actually pretty easy to hit. So, yeah, they're getting a nice A tier. I don't have much else to say about them. They're pretty nice to players. Onwards to Void enemies. First up, we have the Void Barnacles. Easy S tier. They're just stationary turrets. You can just hop up onto high ground and peek down and shoot them up. They're all dead on the Void seed. Easy. Next up we have Void Reavers. pretty slow, pretty easy to hit. I respect them for that, and they don't do much else, so they're getting a nice 18. Little shits we got coming up, called Void Jailers. I hate these guys. Their weak point isn't hell to hit though, so they're getting a B tier. They're slow. If they feel like it, they can pull you towards them while you're scoping in though, and you'll get a nice smack of beetles in your face, and you're probably dead. So watch out for that. Finally, we have the crab. Go to Void Devastator. This guy, I'm sorry, but he's going in D tier. I hate how the hitbox on this guy for the weak point is so small, and this guy will just, when you're trying to snipe this guy across the map on Sky Meadows, you're not hitting that weak point. It is far out of my skill level. Even though I don't think it's skill that I missed it. He's just rotating all around. I'm not hitting that. Yeah, that's all I have to say about him. With all that done, we now just have bosses left. Technically, Void Devastator's a boss, but shut up. First up, Wandering Vagrant. I hate these guys, and their weak point, it doesn't make them any better. It is the tips of their tentacles, and it's stupid. So, D tier. Next up, our good old friends, the Beetle Queens. Now, they're mostly sitting ducks, though I do hate it when they, like, shove their head in the ground and stick their ass up, and their weak point's just kind of hidden, so they're getting an A tier. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to hit the weak point. Stone Titans, while the weak point's almost free, they duck down their head every time they're about to attack, and this makes you miss more often than you think. So they're going right next to Beetle Queens. Next is Clay Dune Striders. These things are easier to hit than you think, and I appreciate them for that. Nice S tier. I don't know what else to say. They're mostly just sitting ducks, and the weak point's nice and big. It's pretty clear where it is, and yeah. Next up is our good old friend, the Grove Tender. This guy is kind of the same situation as most of the other bosses. Mostly stationary, but he kind of bobs his head around if it feels like it, and that'll make you miss, and it's kind of annoying. That's all I have to say about that guy. And the same goes for Really Knight. He's literally just almost a copy-paste Stone Titan, so he goes into the same spot. Quite the contrast with Imp Overlords to their regular Imp counterparts. These guys have 5 weak points. If you miss this, you deserve it. These guys go in S tier. I don't know how you'd miss the weak point on this. It's literally almost a giant circle on this mini boss or whatever. If you miss that, sucks to suck, man. You kind of set yourself up. Next up is a good old friend, Z Construct. Like many other bosses, he just kind of mostly stationary, nice, easy minions to hit that get you nice gasoline procs with your nice ignition tanks. But if he decides to swerve out of the way at the last second, you miss your shot. Quite annoying. Next up, we got Soulless Control Unit. He's pretty easy to hit. I appreciate him for that. He gets a nice S tier. Same goes for the good old Ally Worship Unit. He's the exact same, so you're just gonna go right on top. Little sloppy, whatever, he can chill there. Quite the contrast to many other of the bosses. We have Grandparents. These guys are assholes, and they will always move their... Why is the weak point on their hands? I don't know, but they will move their hands away very often, because every single one of their attacks involves their hands, and I hate it. They're getting a lovely C tier. Next up is our good old friend, Scavenger. He's getting an A tier. He's pretty stationary, but he can whip his head to the side when he goes to whip out his thwibs or whatever. I don't know what he does. Same with the Lunar ones from the Beads of Fealty, if you take that route. They're the exact same, so they get the same spot. Finally, we have the final bosses. So, Mithrix, where does he go, huh? He gets a nice B tier. This little asshole, while he's mostly consistent and Railgunner can kind of just usually one-shot him in most phases, he is quite annoying when he just decides to gain sentience and dash to the side when you're about to fire at him. He's quite the smart guy, and he outplays Railgunner a lot. And again, while it's just his head, you'd be surprised how often you miss this guy. And finally, we have the Void Link, the new final boss. Where does this guy go? C tier. This guy, his weak points, oh my god, they're so small relative to this boss's size, and I know it should be easy since he's staring directly at you, but I don't know what to say, man. I miss these weak points more than I ever should have in my entire life. But yeah, they're just too tiny, and then also sometimes he'll like crouch down to do his giant laser attack right as I'm firing at him, so I'll miss the weak point. Or he'll, you know, rise up into the black hole and again, I'll miss. That's pretty annoying. So yeah, that's why he goes in C tier. Alright, and that's totally all of the bosses. I'm definitely not missing anyone. I swear I'm missing no enemy in Risk of Rain 2. Just kidding, we got the worms. These guys are assholes. I can count the amount of times I have hit the weak spot on these guys, and it is 1. I have hit the weak spot on these guys an astounding 1 time because the demons at Hopu Games decided to put the weak point on the eyes. I am not hitting this because they... No. Hopefully you can just understand why these worms bring out the inner demons and make me hate it every time I see them, because I can't hit the weak point on them to save anyone's life. But yeah, here's the final tier list. Hope you enjoyed. I don't know, I've been thinking of making this for the past few weeks, and I finally got to it, so I hope you enjoy. See you next video, whenever that is. Take care. Bye-bye.